Hey, what's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're pretty cool for coming by. Appreciate having you by. This is a haul video, tiny review, and contest update of entries and how to get into the contest. It's a great contest. Highly recommend you sign up for it. But let's go into my haul video and find out what I found. Light week this week for me. So you know that means I didn't get 50 comic books. Let's start off with Fair Lady. This is an independent comic book. This is issue number 2. This is actually pretty cool. It's not all like social, preachy, political, PC. There is a message behind it, of course, but I've really been kind of digging this, even though normally this wouldn't be my kind of thing. I'm having a good time with this. I think most other people will too. Moving on. Batman, number 17. Wow. I don't know what's going on in this book. I think that's a fair assessment. I don't know what's a dream this time and what's not, if that makes sense. It should. Because especially with this panel right here, where we have Robin holding the pig mask again. Is he in a fight with somebody? What exactly is going on in this? And it's kind of hard to tell what the dream is, what the dream's not. Did the bank break? This thing's all over the place. It is a disaster. Who's reading this? Is this King? Yeah, this is King. I should have known better. Yeah, King. I think maybe you might be going through some stuff, and instead of maybe writing a comic book that kind of hints to it, maybe you need to go see a therapist. Like, go get help, because your shit's depressing, dude. You may want to call a hotline or something. I don't know what your deal is, but you're just a mess. All right, moving on. We got Superman number 11. Bendis. Hey, you know what? I'll give this one its due. I like this story. Or I want to say story. I like this issue. I'll go that far. This was actually kind of okay. We get Superman shows up and like 3 galactic armies are trying to kill his dad. And it's like, what does he do? That was part of it was kind of, right? But then we get great splash pages. You know, this is very busy art in here. If you don't like a lot of cluttered art, probably not going to like this too much. But we get some really cool stuff in here. This Rogozar guy, I kind of like him in some incidences, as long as they keep him making villainous. But we got some stuff going on in here, and it's okay. Like, I should say it's okay. I like this particular issue because I've been let down so bad by the other Supermans that I can't help but somewhat like this because it actually goes someplace. So I thought that was interesting. Also, what are we playing with in here? The concepts of, you know, being a moral person, especially in the eyes of children. Because Superman's often reflecting to himself in this book. You know, what is my son going to see? What, I've missed so many years of him, yada, yada, yada. Where's his place? We kind of play off of those themes a little bit in here, and I found that to be interesting. I think that's what really attracted me to this particular story. So good job. If you keep this up, like, people will start reading Superman again. Like, legitimately, I think this was an okay issue. All right, moving on. Yeah, Naomi. Yeah. So, first off, I want to clear up what everybody else has been saying incorrectly. She does not have superpowers. She doesn't. She's an alien, and she has something that when she holds it, then it gives her superpowers, right? Does that make sense? And we find out she comes from a warring world, and apparently her mom can kind of talk in her head now because of this magical thing that's a part of her. And it's very unclear. It's unclear. Like, after twice reading this, I'm still like, how does that even happen? But we do get something kind of cool in here. And out of all these Wonder comics that have been coming out, this is probably the only one that I've actually been enjoying. Actually, I'm not going to say I've been even enjoying it. It's the most one that has kept me engaged. I'll say that. I ask questions. Some questions get answered. But then more pop up. That's what keeps people coming back. So I'll buy off on it. But now we find out that she comes from a world that was infraction. Only like 29 people had these godlike powers. And we have a big baddie in it. And apparently he's crossed over into our universe. And something's going to happen. There's obviously going to be some sort of external conflict, finally. Finally, a villain. Finally, some fighting. Maybe we'll figure out how she uses her powers, or will she just be all-powerful right there in the beginning and know how to do it all? I kind of hope they do the training montage in this, because people's biggest complaint about a lot of the superheroes right now is that there's no limits, right? With these new female or more socially corrected superheroes coming out there, that there's no fault to them in any way, not like in classical superhero telling. So kind of hope that they do that instead of this constant internal self-reflection monologue about how cool she is. I don't know. I think they're right there at the cusp of something really great where they can get their message across. We have an African-American female. Actually, that's not incorrect. We have an alien that just happens to be... See, it's so hard to say without saying it. We have an alien that's black. Like, legitimately, we have an alien that's black. She obviously has affection for a pink-haired, slightly overweight person. So all that good social, political correctness is in there. And we got a great story that we can still tie around it. I truly believe this could be one of the stories that finally kind of settles that down, that conflict. Now, do I believe they will do that? Cheers. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, my hopes are high on this one. I hope that's why we've been getting so much on this. Bendis, you have a great opportunity. Please don't destroy your own writing. Next, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, and we got issue number 5 in this. Man, Guardians of the Galaxy has been so... Old Man Quill. I totally jacked that up, and I'm not backing this up, and I don't edit. This is Old Man Quill number 5. And it said right there on the back, too. I'm a horrible, horrible YouTuber. Anyway, I love this. This is classical, and I've said this 1,000 times. It's a classic spaghetti western. I need to emphasize the word spaghetti western because it's a very niche genre of a type of western. And if you don't know where that comes from, it's kind of being used as a slang term to some degree. A lot of Italian filmmakers that made westerns had a very unique feel to it, and that's the same feel that this has. But after careful examination of this, I started realizing we got a lot more than just a western or spaghetti western going on here. We kind of have a horror story too. The last few issues have really been kind of engaging us into horror themes with the western, and then with this overlying kind of sci-fi deal with it too. It's really like the trifecta of coolness. Normally these concepts would just collide, it would just be a disaster, but for some reason it works here. Like, I can't quite explain it. It's kind of cool. Dialogues can be beefy and sometimes. In this particular issue, we see Multi-Man, and we find out what happens when he multiplies. That obviously means more food, more food, more food, more food. So what does that kind of look like when it's in a zombie horde type of feeling? That's what we get in here. Plus they blow up a church, because that's significant. But ultimately, so yeah, we kind of get the zombie throwaway in here. The last couple of issues ago, we got the monster, right? Fing Fang Foom was in there. The cosmic threat. A lot of good stuff going on in here. And I think if you give these old man stories kind of a shot, I think most people would be surprised with them. They're just not as popular, and I get it. Right? It's not a cool title. It's not a whole lot of number ones going on in there. I don't really consider the old man of something a new character by any means, right? Because they just got old. So I know they're not getting much love, but definitely check it out. If it doesn't hook you after issue 2, let me know in the comments down below. It's actually kind of cool. I've been enjoying it. Next, I had to pick this up just because of the title. Now, I'm mad I didn't get the variant version of this. That kind of made me mad. I tried very hard. But this is Spider-Man Life Story, and we're dealing in the 80s. That's when I was a kid. I grew up in the 80s. I loved the 80s. I still listen to 80s music. I was just listening to Duran Duran on the way home, Rio, singing along with it in traffic, people thinking I'm crazy, and then I would just act like I'm just talking through my magical voice box that translates to other people. Yeah, I did that. So what do we got in here? What happens if Spider-Man gets older, right? As we go through these periods, what does that look like today? Right here in the beginning, we're dealing a lot with Battle World in this one, the after effects of Battle World, him finally coming home, having twins with Mary Jane, who not more than an issue ago was a pill-popping disco queen from back in the day. That was awesome. Apparently, Gwen has already died. We got a lot going on in here. We're following that storyline where Craven tries to set him up, tries to teach him lessons when he's wearing his symbiote SpiderMan suit. A lot of that going on. Kind of a storyline with an alternate, slightly twisted in some way. Okay, I'll buy it. This has been okay. The only reason why it hasn't been an absolute home run is it's really wordy and it's dealing with the private lives, right? And in some cases, I don't think that's why we read a comic book. I mean, it's good to get some reference, but they really harp on it in here. We're kind of dealing with Peter Parker having a midlife crisis. That's kind of what's going on in here. At the end of this, spoiler alert, Mary Jane leaves them, and Aunt May apparently has dementia throughout this comic book. So I get that they're trying to get to the soft bits in us right there in the heart, but the truth is I don't think this is a very telling Spider-Man story. I think we're lacking in that. Next, Uncanny X-Men. This is the filler issue, right? This is where they kind of slowed everything down. We already knew Logan wanted to walk away from the team, but they want to spend a couple of pages on that. We get some Sinister action in here, but he gives up in the end. We're hoping that's part of the plan, I'm assuming. Also, a bunch of other Sinisters kind of collide and make one big one at some point. I don't know. The coolest part of this book was this scene right here. Emma Frost is back in there, and Mystique kind of helping out too. Apparently, Logan's giving Mystique a call. Or is it? I don't think it's Logan. I think I might have misspoken there. No, it's Scott Summers. Cyclops gives Mystique a call there at the end, and they kind of leave it off there. A lot of action in this one. A lot of good action. I'll give it that. A lot of tellings. I'm trying to find the meaty parts of this, and the truth is they're not this there. This is exactly what it was. It was an action comic filled with a lot of action in it that tried to hit the soft bits and probably missed there. So, if you like the action side of the 1990s X-Men, that's a great book for you to read. It's awesome. It's there. Where does it lack? You might as well just take the words out of it because it's just not there. The dialogue was lacking in this one, I think. Moving on, Immortal. Well, Hulk, thank you for bringing back a reverse negative copy of Joe Fixit. What do I mean? So Joe Fixit back in the day was a Hulk persona, if you will, that worked in Vegas. He was susceptible to daylight as well as our Immortal Hulk now, the same as our Immortal Hulk now. So what makes it different in this one? Well, he's not a Hulk as you would think of him. He's not a Hulk. No, it's basically Bruce Banner with the personality of Joe Fixit, which is kind of awesome because he has to tap into Bruce Banner to outsmart the villains in this story. That's pretty much what this is just an outsmarting. And he figures out a way to give himself more gamma, turns into this monstrosity. Bam, dap, dap. And apparently this blows up. So that was pretty awesome. Man, I don't think Immortal Hulk can fail. Right? So, in case you were wondering, all the rumors about the Red Harpy being in this one, first appearance of the Red Harpy, nope, did not happen in this book. No, sorry. I know if you're sitting on top of your pile and you're like, that was the next one I was going to read. I want to see that. Doesn't happen in this one. However, we know it's coming soon, so just be patient, young grasshopper. All right, moving on. Now we'll get to Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the beautiful number 5. Check Mama's hips out. What is going on there? Did Liefeld draw that? Like, what is going on with that? Girl can crush a man. So, in this one, what ultimately happens? Well, Death helps out. Death showed up with the Black Order. Okay, we got that. Everybody thinks Gamora is going to be some sort of new Thanos. They're going to download it into her. Okay. Doesn't happen because Thanos is smarter than the average bear. Eros, Uros. He's the new Thanos. I know what you're thinking. He's like, but he's the one that sent the order and all that. Well, that was all part of the plan. Apparently, Thanos is even smart in his death. So Death grabs up Uros and takes him to a mock-up of a new, I guess, a new Thanos. We kind of get stuck on this page right here. We'll find out in the next issue what's going to happen, but Thanos is back. Legitimately, how can you get rid of Thanos? Not anytime soon. His name is Synopsis with these types of stories right now. He's not going anywhere for a little bit. Hell, they might kill him off another 5 times and bring him back for all we know. Alright, let's see what we got going on. Got a lot of the War of the Realms stuff popping out this week. So we're going to take this one slowly and try to make it not as confusing as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with this, the War Avengers. This is the Strike Force. I liked this. I thought this was a very good story. I thought it was smartly told. We get some Captain Britain in here. We get some Deadpool action. I thought Deadpool really kind of helped break up the monotony of this book, because what you're getting in this is superhero teams, this particular superhero team, traveling, fighting, and then you're like, oh my god, this is witty joke by Deadpool, comes in at the right time, makes a snarky comment, induces the levity a little bit, and then they go right back into it. What concepts are we dealing with this? In this one, it talks a lot about, alright, so Cara Danvers, a fighter pilot, even in the comic books, she's a fighter pilot, apparently is put in charge of a ground force to fight wars, and she's not doing a very good job. She's underneath this belief that, you know, sometimes soldiers get sacrificed, sometimes you just gotta hold back the army and die. No. That's not correct at all. That's not the purpose. No, we don't put troops anywhere just to hold the line to get more troops up there and they'll die. No, that's not how we do things. That is incorrect. I've spent 17 and a half years in the Army. I'm telling you, no. However, we are dealing with some interesting concepts and baseline game theory here, and how it's used in strategy a lot. That we get a lot of in here, from looking at a board and moving troops around on it, to when to precisely strike and when not to strike. However, didn't work out for her in this one. Some bodies got dropped. As we know, the Black Knight already got killed in another issue. This is kind of the backup story of how that happened. So, moving on, we got Giant Man, number 1. Technically, should have been called Giant Man. Because, well, right there on the cover, there's more than one. I really like this story. I thought this was very... what's the sophisticated word to use? Stupid. I thought this was a stupid story. Basically, if you take all the superheroes that can turn into giants, we're going to paint them blue. Make them kind of, sort of, maybe look like frost giants. To infiltrate a camp of frost giants, and immediately they get caught. One guy can't control his powers. Tons of dick jokes in this one. Like, legitimately, they're slightly hinted to innuendos of size and things like that. We obviously know what they're talking about. However, they just missed the point. The jokes did not land because that's how obscure they were. Probably not picking up issue 2 on this. Hey, if you didn't pick this up yet or you were thinking about it, you can totally avoid this story and still keep on track with War of the Realms just as fine. This is completely nothing to do with it whatsoever. I mean, it does, but not in a real sense. Period. Let's see here. Oh, War of the Realms. This issue number 4. This has turned out to be very good. Now, first off, this has nothing to do with what's going on the inside. Man, I really liked this story. Some parts of it got a little bogged down. Not going to do that. But now we're getting the other realms and their survivors that want a little bit of revenge. We're sending teams out to grab those and bring them back. We got Hellraiser, or not Hellraiser. What am I thinking? We got Punisher. He goes and picks up some elves. Some elf sticks like a flintlock pistol in his face, and he's like, 0 cares. Right, we get Ghost Rider. he goes and picks up a bunch of spiders, because that was a realm. You know, so we're getting these people that are picking up all these people, bringing them back here so we can divide them out and strike teams. How do I know that for sure? Because we have this team right here, SpiderMan and the League of the Realms. We'll get to that one in a second, because this still had some good stuff in it. Odin wakes up. He decides, where's my wife? They're like, oh, we left her at the Black Bifrost Bridge because, you know, she told us to. So much so she even kicked She-Hulk out. Like, she's kind of dedicated on dying today, bro. And Odin's like, the hell with that. I need my weapons. And Stark shows up out of nowhere because he hasn't been relevant in the story much. And he's like, dude, I got a suit for you. Now we know why he hasn't been relevant. And, you know, our friends over at Wakanda kind of juiced it up for you as well. So they give him a suit. And the cool thing about it is they give him a suit with horns in it. I mean, he looks like some kind of steel bull that some drunk chick would ride at a rodeo. Bam! Right? So he goes and he saves his wife, and they basically do everything but make out on the battlefield. Like, legitimately, I thought at some point we were going to flip this page and we were going to see, like, old people sex. Yuck. But there's the passion of Odin and his wife. That's been kind of lit back up. And we get Thor. He's ready to go back into battle. Fresh out of his rage of dropping bodies left and right. And ta-da. That's where we're at with this story. I thought it was really interesting. I've really been enjoying it. A lot of themes being played here depending on who you talk to. This is more dealing with people's reaction to things, and I've really been enjoying that. It almost seems somewhat realistic if you take it slightly extreme. But other than that, I've really been liking this. Getting on with this. This was okay. It was... I think they tried to make Spider-Man the most human person of this entire particular group. The point of this group, if you don't know, think of Thor and his little band of people from other realms that kind of hung out with him in the original Thor movies. He's kind of brought the band back together. Well, same concept of it. We have Spider-Man, who, by Thor standards, is the most Midgard person there is. Okay, got it. And then he's kind of filled up with these kind of war-hungry kind of people. Or would they be Pelp? I'm not sure if you consider them aliens or not. Anyway, these others that are kind of on his team, they don't really want to listen to Spider-Man because they're like, oh, wow, you're kind of a sissy. And Spider-Man's like, well, no, I just don't believe in dropping bodies all the time. Like, I don't kill people. I have code. They're not hearing him much. They're ready to drop bodies. Some guy's got some dollar store magic that Doc can hide them. They're going to go kick ass on some angels. Angels, of course, can see them coming a mile away. She's like, drop them bodies. Spider-Man shows up and he's like, hey, what seems to be the problem here? Why don't you be cool? She falls down. He helps her up. All of a sudden, they're friends. I'm not even remotely exaggerating that summary. She's on her butt. And he's like, let me start by helping you up. And apparently, they're cool now. And everybody kind of sees the benefit of Spider-Man, why he's part of this group. Ta-da! That's your story. I think this has a great opportunity to be funny, though. There are some funny bits in this that I found entertaining. There are some parts that kind of touch your heart a little bit, but I wouldn't get too deep into it. Basically, this is just going to be group dynamics and how group dynamics breaks down. And in group dynamics, how everybody plays a significant role. So even as an individual, you play a role for the common good. That's kind of group dynamics in a nutshell. It gets more complicated than that, but I think we're going to see that expanded on more in here. I'll go ahead and say I'll probably pick up issue 2 just to find out more about these characters and where this is going ultimately. Alright, next. Oh man, these got delivered today. I have read through them right before I came on here. This video is taking a while. I am sorry. I still got so much to say. Alright, so we'll blow through these really quick. Farmhand. Dude, if you're not reading Farmhand, I don't know. This is just this is a filler issue, and it was still entertaining to read. Definitely check it out. The group dynamic or the family dynamics in this one are extremely interesting. Last stop on the red line. Man, I don't know why I like this. I'm definitely going to have to pick up issue 2 on this. In the beginning, it was kind of confusing because you don't know if you're in a world where people are monsters or think they're monsters, but there's some sort of group therapy, and there's a monster dropping bodies on trains. There's a dude, he's white, he's a dick. there's a mixed woman and mixed children that want to be cool to a homeless guy. We don't know what his monster thing or what his thing is, but apparently he's popping pills to help him sleep and drinking booze. Boom. That's the story. Interesting. All right, next. Amazing Spider-Man. He is not in this issue. I repeat, he is not in this issue. Why do we call him he? We don't even know this cat's name. However, we get some great stuff about how dedicated Kraven is to Spider-Man, which has always been an awkward relationship. And this one, it kind of cements the awkwardness of it. Like, legit. And we also see the good Dr. Lizard go animal. Like, legitimately. Out of everybody in there, he's probably the most animal one at this point. If you've been catching up on the series, you know all the villainy bad guys that are associated with animals or locked up in Central Park. And we got robots going around killing them. We find out that the robots are attached to people because it's like a drone. But now if they die, the people controlling them will die as well. It's a thing, right? If that got confusing. Definitely check it out. I've been enjoying the read, but this is getting deep real quick. And I kind of like it. I'm interested with the symmetry to some degree, because they're both strong-willed people, both Spider-Man and Kraven. And then we got Kraven's son out here doing things. But I like this kind of dynamic, this kind of teacher to lesson thing. Last but not least, we got Justice League number 24. That is my dog losing its mind. Justice League 24. I like where this is going with this new Spider-Man suit thing. It's an interesting story. The artwork, again, is a little busy for me. But basically what we got in here is the World Forger is kind of buddied up with Batman and kind of said, hey, you want to be in charge of everything that I'm creating? You kind of have to destroy the old. Need your hand with that, bub. And right now, as far as we can tell, Bruce Wayne's kind of on board because he's suited up in the new Batman suit. And he's ready to drop as the Justice League narrowly escapes with the help of the Legion of Doom in this alternate reality. We kind of see the respect going back and forth between the two. It was interesting. It was kind of, because even as villains, they kind of, it's an interesting concept. Pick it up, wait till a dollar bin, whatever. Pick this particular issue up, maybe the last two issues as well, just so the complete story makes sense. I would definitely pick them up. Just kind of read through them. It's good storytelling. Like, it's legit storytelling. I'm kind of liking it. However, I believe this entire series will probably read better in a trade paperback one right after the other. All right, so next, as promised, updates on the Villains Contest. If you have not entered yourself in the Villains Contest, the link down below with all the rules and everything are in there. Basically, I'm asking for a video or a comment on how you relate to a villain. I say relate to a villain. Again, it can't be because they did something good and you thought that you could do that too. No, they have to be doing something villainous. In other words, you have to talk bad about yourself. Yeah. The reasons why we're doing this particular contest, again, the video will be down below. I think you'll find it interesting. I definitely have been thinking it. I've been having, I don't want to say fun with this, but I've been learning a lot about this. And that's really the point of this whole thing. So right now in the entry contest, as far as I know, for comments, I have Jam Sessions, Ruben Nieves, Stir Fry, Gray Man. For videos, I have Comic Collector did one all by himself. And then Comic Core as a whole did one on a Friday night show. On that show was Simple Man's Comics. He was the guest that night. He did a good job. Check out his channel too. Cat Rand, her husband Mark, The Great Legend, Discovery Bay, Drew Manchu, and Chad himself from Comic Core. Those are the entries that I have in this. This contest goes on until June 3rd. So definitely check it out. By June 3rd, we're going to pick a winner at that point. Now, you're probably saying, how do I win this competition? Again, the rules and everything and what exactly we want is down below. I prefer a video, but you can comment on the link below as well to the actual video. If you decide to do a video, just put Pocan Joe somewhere in the title. That way I can, because every day I wake up and I search at least 3 times a day to see if anybody's done a video. So there's that. So yeah, I'm actively looking for you. If I did not mention you as of today, you may want to comment down here and say, hey, I got a video, here's the link, or I made a comment, you didn't mention it. Definitely correct me as we're going through this concept. Again, the link to the original contest entry is below. I'm having fun with it. I hope you all do too. We have some great prizes. Again, that same video will have the prizes in it as well. Folks, I don't know what else I can say other than take another awkward sip of my delicious tea. Folks, if nobody's complimenting you today, hey, you're doing fine. You're doing well. It's not that bad, whatever it is. You'll get through it. I got nothing else. This weekend, I'm going to Tidewater Comic-Con. We may get some content out there to you. But other than that, hey, guys, have a cool day. And thanks for stopping by. Bye.